This year is being dedicated to Leilu Nishmas, Maris Rochalea, Reb Chaim Tzvi. We're at now the climax, perhaps, in terms of the emotional dynamics in the relationships between Yaakov Avinu and Rachel Imenu and Leah Imenu, where we spoke about in Parakaf Tet, Yaakov Avinu marries Rachel, Vayahav Gamet Rachel Mileah, and we ended off with the explanation that he loved Rachel Mileah because of what she did for Leah. Vayavod imo od sheva shanim achirot, and Yaakov Avinu works in a trustworthy way for these 7 years, another 7 years, albeit Lavan wasn't honest with him. Yaakov Avinu is above board, he's honest. Now this pasuk Lamed Aleph is a very, very challenging pasuk, very interesting pasuk, and I think, my friends, we will find it to be almost a very scary pasuk, to the level, Sitzchatcha Tzedek, Kahar Rekel, HaKadosh Baruch Hu judges people. But the Musar Haskell is important for us to learn. So let's learn the pasuk together. And let's learn it with the eyes of Chazal. Pasuk Lamed Aleph. Vayar Hashem kisnua Leah. Hashem, Yud Kei Vav Kei, the Midas HaRachamim, sees that Leah is hated. Vayiftach et Rachma, and he opens up her womb. The Rachel Akara, and Rachel is barren. So there's a lot of questions that we need to ask on this pasuk. First of all, how do we understand that Yaakov Avinu hated Leah? How do we even begin to fathom such a thing? That lo tisna tachicha bilvavecha is v'feirush halacha and the Chumash. If we're so careful about not marrying two wives, should we not be as well careful about sinah? How do we understand that? What is the idea of Vayiftach et Rachma, that Hashem had to open up her womb? Was it closed that it had to be open? Why is the result of Vayar Hashem kisnua Leah, Vayiftach et Rachma, how are those two interconnected? And perhaps the final idea is, how is the end connected to the rest of the pasuk? V'Rachel Akara. Why is the Chumash here telling us V'Rachel Akara? And if we need to know Rachel's Akara, why is it dafka here, within this entire pasuk, that we need to know this? And why do we need to know this at all? Would this not be obvious at the beginning of the next parak, which we'll get to Mir Hashem very soon, that Havali Banim V'May Meita Nochi, why was it necessary to mention that Rachel is an Akara? So let's begin with trying to decipher some and all of these questions. We'll start with the Ramban, Vayahav Gamet Rachel, Kisnua Leah, Pasuk Lamed Aleph. Hine Leah rimta b'achota gam b'Yaakov. When Leah is getting married instead of her sister, this is really a rima. It's a trickery to Yaakov Avinu. Ki im nomar shenahaga kavod b'avia shachaz ba v'echnisa elav va'al tamer bo. If you want to say that Leah Imenu had to listen to her father and showed kavod to her father, Hayala Lakid or Lorameis ki he Leah. Nevertheless, says Ramban, she should have at some point hinted to Yaakov Avinu the truth. Avki aitat minakeret kol halayla. Even though she was pretending all night she was Rachel, she should have given some clue. Ulefichach lo hikira ad shara ota baboker. But the fact is, he had no inkling until the next morning. V'lachein tzana Yaakov. Therefore, he hated her. He hated her for what she did to him. He hated her for being tricked. That's where the hatred. It's not so much a hatred of her, it's a hatred of what she did to him. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu realized that she did this in order to marry a tzaddik, and therefore HaKadosh Baruch Hu had mercy on her. Yaakov Avinu had a thought, maybe I should be married to such a person, right? Someone who's a trickster. Therefore, Rachma immediately gave her children. The mother of these I'm going to get rid of. That's the idea that Hashem saw that Hashem had mercy, Yud Kei Vav Kei, Hashem had mercy. V'yesh omrim haradak ki shtayim nashim shachat te'uva ma'od tikra shneya snua kenegdo. The Radak points out, when you have two wives and one is very much loved, in comparison, the other one seems to be hated. K'mo shamar v'yahav gamet Rachel Leah lo shesan'a It wasn't as if that he hated her, but when you compare the love of one to the other, it seems as if the other one is hated. So this second interpretation of the Ramban is only the comparison, but not that he actually hated her. If we take this a little bit further, the Orach Chaim HaKadosh says beferish, Yichavein lomar ki Hashem levado hu she'yada v'akir ki yisnua. The pasuk doesn't say that Yaakov Avinu hated Leah. The pasuk says Vayar Hashem kisnua Leah, and Hashem saw that Leah was hated. Mashma mizeh, it's only HaKadosh Baruch Hu who's makir. HaKadosh Baruch Hu's bochein levavos v'kloyos. Only He who understands the innermost thoughts of mankind. Only He knew that she was hated. Lo haya shelo. Lo kain hi shelo yagisha b'sinata. She herself didn't feel hate.